A concept that a lot of people, I think, aren't very aware of, and they tend to beat themselves up about, that I've noticed, is how space creates flow. And space creates flow is such a simple concept, but we don't fully grasp like the implications of it. You know, everyone's saying go with the flow, just flow with your highest self, and things like that, or the universe or your guidance. And I was so frustrated by that. And so I was like, how do you actually create flow? So I finally realized that when you finally like sit down and make space for something, and you create the space, even if there is none, but you literally create a container or you create the space, that is when flow has room to come in. So an example I've noticed that I like to give is, say for example, there's a creative writer and they're trying to write something. And some people might have like a creative block, or they feel like they're struggling to figure out what to write. And they might like beat themselves up or be like, oh, I'm not thinking of anything, or nothing's coming to me. And so even though there's a blank page on the screen, they will look at their surroundings, look at their space, whether it's their desk or their house, and they'll be like, oh, I'll start, cleaning. So they just start like randomly cleaning and things like that. And the next thing you know, something else is done, but then the actual thing they were trying to do, which is the thing they were trying to write, didn't get done. So they might beat themselves up and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't write anything, and I might have a deadline, or I really wanted to get this done, but I'm drawing blanks and I wasted time, and all those like kind of like self-critiques. But what I'm realizing is that subconsciously they were trying to create space so that the energy and the creative energy could flow into their life. So they shouldn't be beating themselves up. They should actually learn how to work with this energy. I'm finding that when you create space, that's when energy flows, manifestation flows, and you don't have to beat yourself up, because you were trying to help yourself by creating space. I recently had spoke to someone, and they also work with people that deal with with writing and things like that, and they said that they call it procrastinating, which is a great word, by the way. So yeah, it's like they might start procrastinating and thinking that that's the problem, when actually that's their subconscious showing them that they need to create space. And so instead of beating yourself up, you should actually actively work with the energy. And imagine how much time you could save yourself if you just knew that going in. If you sat down, started trying to write something, and nothing's coming, and then you'd be like, okay, I need to create space. So how can I create space so that I can, so this energy can flow in naturally? And then, you come up with a plan, like I'm going to clean my desk, or I'm going to, clean a room or something like that, or a closet or something, or I'm gonna organize my computer files, or I'm gonna create space on my phone so I can make content. And that's another thing too. It's not about forcing flow. You don't force flow. You end up just burning out, honestly. But when you create space so that the flow can just naturally come in, kind of think of it like putting out rain barrels for rainwater or something like that. If you don't put out the rain barrels, then the rain's not going to collect in the barrels. You have to put the container out first so that the rain has somewhere to land, and so that you can, utilize that. Even in the realm of losing weight, I see exercise and your diet, especially when you're eating clean and things like that, I see that as you clearing out the old energy. Once again, creating space. You're clearing out the old energy and the old, maybe unhealthy cells, or you need to detox toxins and things like that out of your body. It's like you're clearing that stuff out because it interferes with like your body's functions and things like that. So once you clear out what's taking up space in your body, that's when, and then you keep being consistent and you eat healthy and you keep exercising. That is like a process of creating space day in and day out, weekly even. And by doing that, your body is constantly, or it's continually working to cleanse itself and creating space. And then like your natural vitality, your natural energy, and your natural physical state and functionality begins to come in and begins to flourish again. But it's like you have to clear out the old.